Should be good. Check everything here real quick. And we are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is out there for TV land for you folks. Welcome to another Jedi Academy. I am your host, Ranger J, 1999. Glad to have you guys here for another edition of the Jedi Academy. If you're new to this and wondering what this is, well, this is kind of where we just hang out with you good folks, and this is a Q&A show. And we bring the best and the brightest of content creators, Star Wars Galaxy heroes, and we're here to do nothing but answer your questions. So the way it works, if you have a question, all you need to do is put your question into the chat, and we will scoop that up and get that read out. So get your questions sooner rather than later. We will have a cutoff time today, so make sure you get your questions in. We'll go usually cut questions to about an hour and a half in, sometimes a little bit shorter, depends on how many questions we are. So if you do have your questions, go ahead and get those in. But glad to see everybody out there on a Saturday morning joining us. Very much appreciated. Real quick, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, check out some our other content that we've got on the channel, along with Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And if you like it, why don't you stick around and become a sub? And we'll let the other folks here on the panel pimp their stuff at the end of the show, so you can check out their stuff as well and do the same thing for them. That being said, let's introduce everybody that's on the panel so we can get this show on the road. First and foremost, we have my compatriot in arms who will be grabbing your questions. And that is, of course, Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman, the Troll Extraordinaire.
I'm hiding from hurricanes.
That's right, Finn. Make sure everything is in plastic bags. Also joining us that is not in the path of a hurricane is, of course, Warrior from Warrior Presents.
What's going on? How are you?
Yes. See, Finn, he's in the mountains, thus negating the possibility of said hurricane hitting him.
Avalanche-cane?
A what?
An avalanche-cane. It's a hurricane
Like
made of an
chemical
avalanche.
they're gonna pop in my mouth to make it numb.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like some kind of sci-fi B movie.
That could be the next Sharknado.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? If that ever happens, Finn, we're claiming that. That was our
Snorricane.
idea.
We'll call it the Snorricane.
Oh, there we go. And then also joining us, we have the knowledge of all Jedi holocrons, Lady Master Adastra. Hello, Lady Adastra.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm not in the path of a hurricane, so
Yes.
I am good.
Okay, yes. Are you up in the mountains?
I am in a safe area.
See, there you go. So somewhere in a safe area is Jedi Master Adastra, not in the path of a hurricane. So there you go.
Are you sure, Adastra? Are you sure?
Yes.
Because your safe area tends to have the ground crumble from beneath it.
I
Just
have
saying.
the high ground.
No. Well, you heard it here, folks. If you have disasters that hit you, just have the high ground and you'll be okay. Science. That's what I love about RSG. We just we throw that knowledge out there like that you really need. So okay, so we are gonna go ahead and get your questions in. So go ahead and get those questions in. Finn scooping them up, and now make sure when you put your question in that you put question in front of your statement. If you don't, we're not going to scoop it up. We use Nightbot, and to help filter it, it just helps us get that filtered easier. So just put question in front of your statement, whatever it may be, whatever your question is, and we'll get it scooped up. If you don't, then not going to work. Not going to be prudent at this juncture. All right, so while we're doing that, we're getting the questions coming in. Let's talk about our feelings. Finn, what are you feeling right now? No, I made that up. Let's talk about what's going on in the game.
Oh, I was just about to share.
I know. That's why I was kidding, and I cut you off because I don't want to hear that. Unless you want to share your feelings about the game, I think that's acceptable. So what's on everybody's mind this week for the game? We'll start with you, Warrior. Warrior, what's on your mind as we continue?
Well, I think for most people, it's Grand Arena Championships is back. We're in our second round of Grand Arena Championships and kind of how all of that's working out. First individual I went against had every single character that's legendary or mythic except for Malak and C-3PO. Otherwise, he had both Revens. He had, of course, all the basics like Jedi Training Rey and CLS. And I was just like, well, okay, it was nice. It was fun. But whatever. Somehow, some way, I beat him by 10 points. I knew I was going to give him a full clear, but I had to keep my good teams on offense, and somehow I was able to clear. So that was fun. And then this last time, same thing. Had another guy. He had 6 more Zetas than me and some slightly better team comps. And the only thing he didn't have was Jedi Knight Revan. So I took the risk and put my Jedi Knight Revan on defense, knowing that he'd get stopped on that, or at least hoping. But he had Gear 13 characters. I don't. And it did. It stopped him, and so I won again. So I'm loving my Scissor Man account for sure. Having a fun time on that.
All right. Jedi Master Dasher, what's on your mind for this week in the game?
Well, I guess the big thing is more Relic information. They're kind of spoon-feeding us a little bit at a time with that. I wish they would just get it over with, tell us everything that we're in for, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I have a mixture of excitement and fear, like a healthy mixture of the two with this Relic stuff, because I'm excited to see how all my Jedi are going to be affected, with these boosts. And then, isn't there supposed to be like each character gets a new ability too, or was that misread? Like, I remember the early posts that came out that it was talking about like new abilities, or did they just mean like just all these new
Yeah, I don't know. They said that, and so you're right. They actually said it's going to make them more powerful through new abilities and improve stat creation, but all they said in the Relic post was actually they're going to take the primary attribute and crank it up, causing that primary attribute to raise the things associated with it. So a tank would have, tactics or whatever, and then they would be like super tankier than they normally are. So you're right. They're missing a piece that they were talking about earlier.
Yeah, because I've been, theorycraft with people, and then it would be hilarious if Hermit Yoda got an attack ability randomly. And there's like so many things they could do with this Relic stuff, but it seems they're gonna keep it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if it can balance some stuff too. Like they have a chance to balance the characters a little bit through all these abilities, through these boosts. I mean, so I'm kind of.
What it's gonna do is give us the opportunity to take our stupid characters that we took to Gear 13. I know which one yours is, Guardian. And for me, someone like maybe Cup, and then give it the Relic, and all of a sudden a character that's totally worthless becomes super awesome because its stat was boosted in a way that was so great that it made it sort of relevant in certain team comps. I think that's...
Hey, Jedi Guardian is not useless.
Totally useless tank.
Yes.
Lies.
No, that's true.
I used it under Bastila lead. That tank tag actually comes
under Bastila lead. I'll give you. Some Jedi I see using their Jedi Master Dasher, but some I'm going to be like, no. I can't.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see like how they can balance anything, and then whether or not we actually get these new abilities like they reference. So yeah. And then, of course, like, it was kind of funny, but not unexpected, like how they were talking about how we can use all this old gear that we have hoarded, since playing this game. And then it's like, oh, here's a new gear piece, though, that you have to get in order to use all that old piece of junk gear. So I was like, yeah, I guess they couldn't make it too easy on us to have thousands of this junk gear.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right, Dr. Finn, what's on your mind? Well, game, you. What do you think?
Oh, game-wise?
Yeah, game-wise. I don't care about Twinkies or any of that other garbage in your brain.
Oh, they were outer Twinkies. Twinkies, bread, and water were like the first things to go from the grocery
I think bread and water, but I don't think Twinkies was on that.
No. I am dead serious. The Twinkie area, because I went to go get Twinkies because I wanted some Twinkies since it was a hurricane. I didn't want to not have a Twinkie. But they were out. 100% out of Twinkies. Other Hostess items were there. Twinkies were gone. No, not joking at all. But no, game-wise, the Relics, I like the concept. I think it's too early. We talked about this a little bit on Wednesday. We got some more details. I think it's way too early to be releasing relics right now, especially when you look at the Gear 13 stats. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm and Ranger, you can attest to this. I really try not to be this is the end of the game and this kind of stuff, right? I'm usually maybe overly optimistic sometimes, but I feel the relic introducing the relics this soon after Gear 13 kind of really demonstrates the disconnect between the developers and the player base. I feel it more than anything else with the way they're releasing relics right now. So it's a little disappointing. Not that there's anything wrong with the relic system itself. I think it's pretty neat the way that they're doing it, but I just don't think this is the right time for it. So,
all right.
That's my thought.
All right. And those are deep thoughts with Dr. Finn Medicine Woman. All right. We are now going to get into the questions. So keep your questions coming. Dr. Finn's scooping them up. Make sure you put a question for your statement. And we will go through as many as we can. And we'll start with Warrior. Finn, what do you got for our friend Warrior?
All right. So, Warrior, first question for you is from... Well, okay, I guess this carries over from that. Question from Paparazzi. Her first question is, do we have any hope of fixing or stopping the foot-eating hot mess that will be relics?
No, and I'm glad I got that question because I wanted to say something, but I try not to interject too much when it's not my turn. So, yeah, you were just mentioning timing is terrible. So I've been to the development team and I've seen, how long it takes them to do stuff. And I've talked to them and, it's a hot mess. It's like, they're like the Titanic. That's the best way to describe it. Like turning that thing around is really, really hard. They've got like a 6-month to 1-year plan that's like concrete. And then they have like a 3-year to 5-year plan that's fluid. So they can change some of the long-term stuff, but like anything in the next 6 months is done. It's like that's what they're working on right now. So it's a done deal. Like, sorry, if you don't like what we're building, it's too bad. But that means that, 3 to 6 months ago, probably closer to 6 months ago, they were finishing up the wrapping up of trying to figure out Gear 13 and starting the Relic system, which means they actually had these as back-to-back projects. And you know that the only other project in this entire time frame of the last 6 to 8 months was the Geonosians territory battle. And honestly, that was basically, it's a fresh build, I guess, because it's a new map and some new characters. So there were some new kits that had to be built and stuff. But Gear 13 was in there as a primary push. And Gear 13, while it makes characters cool, we know that when you read stars, gear, relics, whatever, like any of that kind of stuff, that requires development. It always 100% costs money, and it's the backbone of this type of game. It's the backbone. And so it's fine, like you said, it would be okay to go to level 90 or to go to level 100 or to have red stars, which is the relic system. We get 7 red stars in the relic system. But it's all about like stagger, right? You go and you do a raid, then you add some PvE content like a raid or like the GOTB, and then you bring in some PvP content. And then after that, you move over and you do some like level cap increase or the relic system, and then you move into the next thing and you move it, right? Because the thing is you've got to, if you're going to take a money grab style thing that's really less about the customers and more about you just trying to figure out a way to create a revenue source internally in the game, like I think most of us acknowledge that's what they want and that's fine, but space that crap out, man, like once a year maybe, and then have the other things, have your team spend time on doing things that your clients are going to have retention. Because what's the point of having a relic system if you have no retention in the game? People are leaving because they're like, this is stupid. So you've got to space it out. You've got to say, here's a new raid, this once a year raid, and then here's some PvP stuff, and then oh yeah, we're going to level 90, and then oh, here's another PvE content. And every project should be a different style, and they should rotate those projects. And it feels to me, having known the internal kind of workings of their team, and having seen kind of how they roadmap and everything, that really basically it was like when she realized the ship was sinking, she basically built a bunch of projects to save it financially. And when Gear 13 rolled out and it wasn't everything that she thought it was going to be salvation-wise, and numbers didn't grow, she bailed. That's how it feels from the outside looking in, and I could be totally wrong. But they have to continue to roll forward that plan because that was what they were working on for the last 6 months. It's not like they're going to throw that work away. So it just feels wrong because it shows genuinely their entire hand. It shows their hand. Their hand was about creating revenue sources upon revenue sources upon revenue sources to try to save the game financially, instead of creating retention and satisfaction and those kinds of things. And as a long-term player, it made me sad a bit to see the Relic system because, like you said, the timing is the worst possible timing right after Gear 13. I mean, there's people that still don't have a Gear 13. My Scissorman account, I've been working on a Gear 13 piece for Revan since, I got Revan to Gear 12, and I'm still, I don't have a Gear 13. It's been a couple of months. There's other people that have 2 or 3, and there's some people that have 50, so it just creates this huge disparity, and now they're just going to create another one. And while I think that superficially they'll see, oh, well, the whales will have something to spend on, that just giving whales something to spend on doesn't actually make it better for the game. You want to engage them in something that causes retention, not just spending. You don't want them to feel bad after spending money. You want them to feel good. And I feel like this is the one game I've played where almost every time I spend money, I feel like I have to go and repent.
That's not a good feeling. Good Lord. All right. Next question for Lady Adastra.
All right. So Adastra, question from Elliot Worsfold, and his question is, what do you use to beat Nightsisters with Nest that doesn't use Sith and Nihilus?
Okay, good question. Yeah, it's Nest always makes things a little more annoying, but it is still trooperable to an extent, but you'd have to have really good troopers to be able to handle that, as Nest obviously can mess it up a little bit. So like a safer counter, if you're wanting to save your Triumph like you mentioned, you can use Padme. Anakin doesn't care about Nest. It's a very strong counter to use your Padme team there, and then Anakin will be able to get that heal immunity, and any of them will be able to one-shot her too when they get the stacks of courage, and so it's a really good Nightsister counter in general. And then with Nest there, it doesn't matter. They'll still be able to roll it. And then you can also use, let's see, what's another hard counter for that? I mean, obviously you have Jedi Revan, but I don't think you'd want to waste him there. But that would be another strong one. Lately, the new reworked clones, if that's an option for you, Rex, is basically has an annihilate of his own. So he'd be able, you just have to time it right for when Nest doesn't have her protection up, so you could one-shot her. Like I recently did some tests against Nest teams with that purpose, that the clones under a shock lead, you're going to get enough healing back, you're going to be able to survive, and then Fives is there to protect you if you lose one of your other clones. So it's actually a really good Nightsister counter Nest there. And again, you just wait to use Rex's Annihilate ability to one-shot Nest, because otherwise you may not have enough DPS. Like Echo can hit pretty hard, but you may not get the timing right, and you may not have enough to kill her. So Rex. Let's see, what's another? I mean, those are very good hard counters there. You can use tougher ones, again, like I said, that are the Imps, and then also First Order, because you have the stun control, and with First Order, I mean. But and then Fox will pretty much just go on a killing spree. So again, you'd have to watch your timing though with Nest to try to get that one shot. So you got a few options. It just depends on what you have roster-wise, and modding versus the Nightsister team modding. Because obviously, if they're modded and Gear 13, that kind of makes it a little harder if you have, say, like Gear 10 First Order, or just your mods aren't as good as the Nightsister mods. But yeah, I hope at least some of those gives you an idea. good luck. Hope you can murder them.
Okay. Next question back to Warrior.
I was actually going to really quick interject. I cannot believe she didn't give the solution to that question. Nest is one of those really tough nuts to crack, but Bastila lead with Jedi totally murder Nightsisters, and as long as you throw Wampa in there, you can go Jedi Wampa, and it destroys that team. Full health and protection, 60 points every time. There you go.
There you go.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I said Jedi Revan, so I guess I just lumped Bastila there. But absolutely.
How dare you lump the Jedi?
I mean, if you really want to keep on that route, I've used Qui-Gon Jinn versus Nightsisters, but that's not.
It just allows you to keep using Revan for different things, is all. That's the only reason why I threw it out there, because I like the 60 points and the guaranteed win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Wow. This is topsy-turvy. Jedi Master Adastra lumping Jedi together, and Warrior is shouting out Jedi. Like, this is.
This is a good day.
Welcome to Liberty Jedi Academy. All right. Let's see. Next question from Warrior from Rubber Duck Mafia. He says, lots of folks complaining about the GAC buys, but they also complained.
Ben?
I lost the film. You went, lots of people are complaining about the bill.
It just cut off. Like you heard, like he dropped something, or like I heard something hit the ground.
I don't know what the hell that was. Something just went pong.
Are you still with us, Finn?
Are you alive, my friend?
The hurricane didn't find you, right? Y'all just leave us hanging like that?
So there was the bad thing, Finn. What happened next?
If it was a hurricane, it's too late. Let's have you read the question.
Yeah, I'm going back in there. Which one was he asking? Oh, Lord, I have to go find it.
The buy on the Grand Arena Championship. Something about the buy.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Give me a second.
I'm here.
Okay, what was that?
I have no idea. Like, Zoom just crashed. Everything else is fine.
All you heard was...
I'm watching,
cut out suddenly.
I'm watching YouTube, and I can see everything. Like, YouTube did not skip a beat, but Zoom was like, you know what? We're going to disconnect you in the middle of a question. I have no idea what that is. All right, let me start again for Warrior. Question from Rubber Duck Mafia. It says, lots of folks are complaining about GAC buys, but they also complained about matchmaking cross-division lines. The numbers are never going to be perfect. Is there just no pleasing everyone?
Yeah, there's never going to be pleasing everyone. That's a physical impossibility, and if you don't realize that, you've either never worked ever a day in your life, or you've never been in a family. So you were born out of the goo, and you live on your own. Because you can't please everyone. When there's a group of people, inevitably half of them are pissed off for something. That's just the world we live in now. The buys, I'll be completely honest, I actually didn't even know that was a thing. I don't do the forums a whole lot, and I noticed some people were getting points and people were complaining, and then someone said something about a buy, and I was like, how do I get a buy on my main account? Like, how does that work? So that would be cool if I got that, but I didn't. But I don't know. I don't even know how or why people get that. I do think it's kind of crazy that they get their, automatic points without even having to do anything. Not sure why, unless that means that somebody didn't set defenses, and so they didn't get their opponent was not matched correctly or something, and so they had to do it to be fair. I don't know, but I guess it's like winning the lottery for people. If you get a buy, then you win the lottery. I don't really care, honestly, personally. Who gives a crap? So I don't think anybody needs to worry about it. Just play and have fun, and who cares where you place, honestly.
Yeah, all you really need to do is...
Don't they get the max points possible, too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think
probably because they can't earn any of the achievements, though.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Yeah,
so they don't get all of the currency, and they don't get all of the other stuff. So it's like things suck one way for them, but then they get higher points and do higher. At the end, they'll possibly, reach a higher level. And if they're not that good, they're going to lose their next few matches anyway. So who really cares? If they're good, then so what? They would have won anyway. So it's not really going to change destiny in one situation, as long as the same person doesn't keep getting buy after buy after buy. But if they're going to do that on my Warrior account. It's good. I'll be the tester for that.
Yeah, I
I was
think.
just gonna say, I wonder what the odds are someone could get a buy again and again. Like that would be insane.
Yeah, I don't think
But then they
that'll.
would have 0 feats, so they'd be like
Yeah,
happy and angry at the same time, probably.
pretty much. And as I said in GAC, all you need to do is get the chromium,
But
and
it'd also be boring. Like I enjoy fighting an opponent. Like
well,
I would get a buy because that would be
I
super
think it's when
boring.
there's not enough players in a certain bracket, right? Like it's an
Yeah,
odd number, or there's just not
find
enough.
a match
Well,
for you for
even with
whatever
the
reason.
even with the last one, right? And maybe this was just me. I was surprised that the buy issue didn't show up more. Maybe because it you need a multiple of 8, right? In order to fill out every single bracket. And maybe only like one person received a buy since they were crossing divisions. But now since they're not crossing divisions, you can see it at least one time based on every division, right? So it's maybe a little more prevalent.
Oh,
But
that's
I was
true.
surprised we didn't see it the first time.
Well, like you said, they had all the cross division stuff going on, so they locked it down a bit better this time. So yeah, I guess that makes sense to.
And I mean, I think they changed a lot of it right now. If you're facing somebody that intentionally put like one team on defense or something, right? Don't they give you max points for all the other teams that you didn't fight as well? Because there were some people intentionally just putting like one team on defense so it didn't autofill everything. And then the other person really only had like one team to fight. I think they give maximum points now to them as well if that happens. So it looks like to Warrior's point, I think it is kind of how they're compensating for the fact that you can't get any of the extra points or the achievements and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
All right, next question.
All right. Question from Sith Lord 72 for Adastra. And the question is, I spend around $40 a month typically on crystal packs. With the new Relic system coming, is there a better way I should be spending? Also, why won't CG offer more value to its middle spenders?
Uh, well, I mean, I don't know how to answer that. Like, I never tell anyone how to spend stuff. Like, I don't know how I would answer that. It's like we all do our own thing. You know, how much money you want to spend, it's up to you. Like, I'm not gonna tell anyone, oh, spend this amount, it'll be good. Spend everyone's money is their own. But I will say, $40 a month on crystal packs is pretty solid. Like, it sounds like you're doing pretty good right there. And then the new relics, there's no way to know. I mean, it's all guesswork right now, like what that's gonna be like as far as uh, farming this new gear piece, and then what it's gonna cost to try to get your relic maxed out as quickly as possible if you're wanting to race someone in that regard. You know, it's gonna have a huge edge over all your opponents. So I mean, there's no way to know. I mean, it's probably not going to be cheap though. I highly doubt it's going to be cheap if you're wanting to well out on it. Yeah. But as far as worthwhile, again, I mean, they're going to have these insane boosts for characters. So depending on your competitiveness, it might be worth getting one relic on a key character right away just to give you that advantage. But again, we have to just kind of wait to see how this impacts stuff. And then as far as CG offering value to middle spenders and below, I know that's been a constant, like, remember when they used to have that subscription crystal pack that you would buy in and then you get crystals every day, and I wish they would bring stuff like that again. That would speak to the lower end. That would make it feasible for people to just drop a few bucks on the game to help support it, and then they also get a nice reward as a result. I mean, I guess in general, CG wants to target. They have their Krakens and the whales and dolphins that they're targeting all these people because they know, oh, they're gonna spend more. If you're competitive, you're gonna spend more. But it would be nice if they had something, just for the occasional person that wants to support the game or just wants some advantage without having to drop a ton of money. But again, it's all a money standpoint from CG, so I don't know if they'd ever cater to the little guys again. I mean,
They have a little, right, with that I can't remember what the name of it is called. That Galactic Gear Pack or whatever it is. That like $7.99 pack that they just brought out again. I think what's the second time or the third time that they brought it out?
I think that's the third time.
Yeah,
that's a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do stuff like that's true. That was a good one. Very worthwhile for money-ish, I guess. But it'd be nice, do some more stuff like that. Do like a little $2 thing maybe, but that's like half the content. Or I don't know.
All right. Round we go. Back up top to Warrior.
Okay. So Warrior, question from Briarius Aegon. And the question is, with Gear 14 coming, do you think they'll throw us a bone and increase gear drops or acquisition rate?
No. What they will do is they will monetize it by placing the gear that we need for the Relic system in bulk packages in the store. And so the gear that you had 5,000 of, that you hate, that you don't want any more of, will be gone in the first week. And you're going to be hatefully spending money on gear that you used to have an excess amount of. Also, you can get relics to level 3, which won't mean much for that particular character. All to realize that you have to spend real money on packs of like 1,000 Carbantes for $100 to get the character's relic to level 6, where it actually matters, kind of thing. It's going to be a mess. I would wary the individual who spends money on these things that are upcoming. I'm telling you, those are, you are going to exhaust all excessive gear. And the scariest part for this, for me, for new players, is there is a lot, and I'm not being offensive, there's just a lot of ignorance when you start playing. This is for everyone, me included. Everyone was ignorant when we started. Even if you know what you're doing, sort of, and you join in because you have a friend and you've got a friend and an ally, there's a lot of obscure pieces of gear you need, and you run out of frequently. Even at Gear 13, even as a whale, I run out of these things frequently. A lot of Mark 8 items, and stuff, and you don't need them with very many characters, but then all of a sudden you need it. When you need it, you look, and it's never in the store, and it's like 650 crystals, and you're like, damn it. There's a lot of that obscure stuff that just kind of pops up, and you're going to look in your gear. It's going to require those, you donating different gear, and you're going to look at that and go, I don't think I need that. And so you're going to sell it off, and then you're going to realize that you needed it for someone, and that was part of your stock, your inventory. And they said, well, if you're afraid of that, you can lock that gear. No one is going to know every piece of gear they're going to want or need to lock. Only the top 3 or 4 pieces are they going to know to lock and not sell. And so just everybody needs to be wary. You could really, really do the relics could cause some real detrimental effects on your gear crunch. And that is the number one. Cubs fan Han put out a survey this week and asked what's the number one problem with the game. And cheating was in 3rd place. Gear crunch was number 1. People are like, cheating sucks. Gear crunch is worse. Like that's terrible. And now they're giving you an opportunity to sell all your gear, all of it, every single bit of it. You can convert with this Jawa engineer dude who's going to convert it into relic material, which then you're going to use to get your relics up. And it's going to take an exorbitant amount of gear. They already said that most whales would be able to do quite a few relics to like level 2 or 3 pretty easily, but after that it gets pretty steep. And I'm afraid there's gonna be a lot of new people. They're going to be desperate to have a relic on something, so they're going to have an arena team. They're going to pick a relic on one of their arena characters and go, that looks like fun. They're going to dump all their obscure gear into it, and then the very next team they're trying to gear, they're going to get stuck at gear level 7, 8, and 9 because all that stupid obscure gear that you had 200 of or 150 of that just didn't seem very usable is everything the next team needs. And so wary to the person that is doing this, just be careful.
Well said. All right. Next question for Lady Adastra.
Okay. So for Adastra, a question from Jason Coonan. And the question is, if an Anakin type event occurs, what do you think the type would be? So I guess this is going for the general Anakin. Who do you think would be required for like a general Anakin event?
Oh, like what kind of event? Or
yeah, what kind of event and who would be required?
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's been the topic of speculation. Everyone's thinking it's the Malak setup. So you might need the light side, dark side type of stuff, Separatists and Galactic Republic to get him. And then if it's not a Malak-style event in that regard, it might just be legendary. I mean, it's not going to be a marquee, obviously. I don't think. It would be kind of underwhelming. If we get this General Anakin, he needs a awesome event to. I'm very optimistic or excited for to get another Jedi, but General Anakin, it's gonna be awesome. But I think because they kind of alluded to that too, that we're gonna get more of these Malak type events. I mean, I don't think anything is gonna be near the level of the original Malak event. I mean, a lot of people are getting stuck on that. That it's doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the exact same type. It's just that these events, it's a new class of event now, but they still have a lot of wiggle room of how they want to release it. So they could still kind of do whatever the heck they want and make it unique. But that seems to be the top theory, that you'll need Separatists and Galactic Republic. One way or another, I feel like Shock T is going to be required, though, just because of the timeline. And, she's farmable now, so they're going to panic people to get her 7-star Gear 13. Like, who knows what the threshold requirements of the power is going to be. Because, again, if they stick to the Malak style, you're going to have to minimum power to get in there. So if they make this event harder or they make it the same difficulty, you're going to have to build up all these characters to a certain extent. And then the clones, like older players, like me, like we had the clones built up because of the tank raid. But a lot of newer people, they didn't bother with clones. So that's why I feel like it's strongly implied that clones and Shock T are going to be needed to an extent, because they're looking at the player base as a whole, that these clones, the reworks have kind of prompted people to acknowledge them. But, Cody and Sarge were kind of left by the wayside. So a lot of people don't even have them unlocked, probably. So and then there's people like me that have the Zeta on Cody wishing to get it back.
Until he gets
I mean, while it's all speculation, but heavily hinted at of what these events are going to be, it's most likely you're going to need Shock and the clones, though. Like, it's kind of heavily hinted, but as they say, time will tell, and they'll eventually announce something, as they keep spoon-feeding us stuff in general here.
All right. Next question for y'all.
All right. So Warrior question from Darth Scion 1972. He says, what's the best way to mod Malak for Arena if I don't have both high speed secondaries and protection? Should I go protection over speed or vice versa? Did I disconnect again?
No, you're still here.
Oh, okay.
Warrior?
So is Warrior on mute?
Did we lose Warrior this time?
Zoom is not being kind.
What is going on with this?
It was just Zoom for me. It was just Zoom. Is Warrior there?
Is Warrior having some coffee?
All right. I'll save that question for Warrior. So I'll give you a question here.
All right, give it to me.
There it is. Yeah, he's back.
There we
He
are.
lives.
Yeah, I was on the phone. I'm at work, and unfortunately, I've got calls and stuff. So trying to be here and do this, I love this. Let's just say this: I like Jedi Academy more than my job. So hashtag trying.
It's either really nice.
That's
or
real talk,
really
yo.
bad.
All right, here.
So
Question
the Malak was all I heard. All I heard was something about modding Malak.
Yep. So the question is modding Malak for Arena. If you don't have both high speed secondaries and protection, should you go protection over speed or vice versa?
So if you can have the fastest two speed mod sets in your team or on your leaderboard, then you'll go fastest set on Malak, second fastest set on Darth Revan. Malak will clear the taunt, and then Revan will hit their Revan and cause catastrophe, and you'll win every time. If you don't have two fast speed sets like that, and you only have one, then you can make Bastila the fastest, unless You have people that have faster Revens and Maliks, and in that case, a fast Basti doesn't make any sense anymore. And then in that case, you just want to put your fastest set on your Darth Revan. So there's like 3 different ways of going about it. As far as Malak goes, for me, I can't personally outspeed people in my guild or in my leaderboard. They whoop on me. So I just went with 1 speed set on Darth Revan and went that route. And then I still get like a lot of times debuffed from their Basti first, and I get kind of like handicapped for the first minute and a half of the battle and have to try to survive. There is an advantage to that, and that is that your Malak almost guaranteed is going to ramp up first. And even if you lose 3 or 4 people, your Malak can take the other 4 or 5 out. So, but you got to get him ramped up to 100%, which means he's got to get his 3 life sucks, which means you got to keep getting him hurt, so that way he can do that first, and then you go. So the way to keep him alive and the way to make sure that 1 versus 5 he does good is put a crap ton of tenacity on him. So that way he resists some of those debuffs and stuff, especially like the stun and whatnot, because a stunned Malak is a bad situation. If he can resist the shock, things like that. So that way he doesn't have that. He'll still get debuffed. It's going to happen still. But yeah, so I would do a lot of offense, like 1,500, 2,000 plus offense, and then as much speed secondary as possible and as much tenacity as possible. So I went offense and tenacity, and my guy can do 1 versus 5. So he'll one-shot people hitting 150, 170K once he's ramped up, which is more than enough to be a Nihilus all on his own.
All right, next question.
Okay, so question for Adastra from Scowist, and the question is, what are some non-meta counters against the Geos?
Oh yeah, I'd like to know a bit more too. I mean, if you consider Padme meta, I've used her a lot now against the bugs, and that's a strong counter. And then you have the Triumph, but I guess that'd be considered meta still, maybe. But that's like a very good counter too, because you can go in short, and it's a good, the bugs just kill themselves, it never gets old to watch. They're just killing themselves, and then you can finish them off. And then of course you have the mighty Jawas, yeah, but that's very gear contingent. I will say Gear 11 Jawas do not work against Gear 13 bugs. I died in like the first few seconds, but I had to try it just to try it, because my Jawas have taken down some Gear 12 bugs before. But again, that's like if you literally have nothing else. Jawas are not gonna be your most reliable counter. It is a fun one though, seeing all those bombs stack up. But again, I am not telling anyone to gear their Jawas. This is just if you randomly had them from your tank rating days. It's a fun extra team if the opposing bugs aren't Gear 13 decked out and terrifying. But otherwise, you will have to use a stronger team to take them out. Again, Gear contingent, Zeta contingent. But like for me, I'm usually facing Gear 12, Gear 13 bugs. So I can't really go in cheaply against them. So like the main ones I have used is the Triumph and then Padme. And clones can actually, it's a bit tougher too though, again with but like I have good clones, they're Zetaed, and I got some of them at Gear 13, so it works for me because you have Rex's Annihilate, and then in general you're getting some good healing to counteract the bugs, but you have to Spy will probably maybe kill one of your clones, so it's not going to be a full banner win most likely, but you have at least that's like extra team again. Like the clones, they're just so crazy strong now with these reworks, so you can kind of use them wherever if you have that team. Let's see. Again, well, both Revens, of course, but can destroy the bugs. And then I've been trying to split up my Jedi again for that reason, but it's fast the lead versus the bugs. I've been kind of experimenting with that, but you really need some AoEs in there to have a better shot, or the spam attacks of some sort. So it's kind of tough. Like I know people are experimenting with like JTR counters, but that's a hit and a miss. So I can't really give you good advice with JTR versus bugs because I've gotten rolled before using that as a counter. So it's the bugs when they're decked out, they have to take a pretty decent team to get them down. Or unless you use your own bugs, you can mirror match if your bugs are superior. So you have some options.
All right. Back to Warrior.
Okay. So Warrior question from Jedi Training Bogus. Now that Galaxy of Heroes has back-to-back gear upgrades within months, do you think we will get a sequel raid before Return of Skywalker comes out? Possible thoughts on raid rewards?
Good question. And this goes back to the previous answer that I gave earlier that they're 6 months out. I do know that they will bring out new content for the new game or for the new video movie, but it won't be a raid. And this is why it takes 6 months to build a raid. It literally takes them 6 months, the whole team. Like it is difficult. I remember the Sith raid, the Sith Triumvirate raid. It was 8 months for that raid, that they spent on it. So, if they wanted to do it and do it right, I mean, they're at 4 to 6 months minimum, and that movie is 4 to 6 months away. Like we're literally less than 4 months away. The other thing is every single time they've done something about a movie, they had no idea what the movie was. Like the Lucasfilm does not give them any information, which is super frustrating to them because Lucasfilm will say, okay, you can make these 3 characters. You can make Pow, you can make Jin, and you can make Cassian. And they're like, okay, well, what do they do in the movie? And they're like, we can't tell you. Well, can you tell us how they act? No, we can't. So like Lucasfilm ties their hands about what the character is or is capable of doing because they don't want to give anything away in the movie, right? And so then they're like having to design creatively characters that are bland that are from the movie but don't actually represent the character in the movie as well because Lucasfilm's too close to the information. They're afraid of leaks and stuff. So I know they're going to put out some characters, but I know the last time they actually put most of the characters out post movie, and they did that on purpose so they could have their characters more reflective of what was the movie. So it felt a little better. And I think that they're probably going to do something similar here. They might have, the movie's going to advertise a couple of characters that are key new characters, and you'll probably see them get some limited info on those characters, and those characters might come out in December or whatnot. But then like January, February, March will probably come a few extra characters from that movie, just like they have in the past with other ones. But I don't see PvE content coming from it because they won't get information about the movie and the characters inside of the movie for like until like a week prior, and there's just no time to incorporate all of that. The raid would be totally unrepresentative of the movie, which would be a moot point at that point.
Okay. Next question to Lydia Dostra.
Okay. So on that note, actually, question from Paparazzi, and her question is: if a Jedi Rey type event occurs, what is your best bet on what would be required?
Well, that would depend on what said event would be, because down the line, I mean, we're already getting some more crazy stuff incoming. So like by then, when we get an actual maybe Jedi, not Jedi Rey that would enter the game, they could have a brand new event by then. Who knows? But regardless, you'd probably need resistance at least, if it is anything connected to her. I mean, I don't think you would need, like the old Jedi, which wouldn't make sense. If they want to keep in line with characters that are affiliated with it, they could just have just an actual character requirement. Like, they could make you use Scavenger Rey and Jedi Training Rey, for example. But you need all the Reys to get the new Rey. I mean, there's hard to say. There's a lot they could do by the time, when an event like that would ever happen. I mean, I don't think, honestly, as cool as it would be to get an actual Jedi Rey, finally, I don't know if that's actually the new character we would get if they were doing something related to the movie event. To wrap it up, I mean, since it's the last movie for this site. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could then, of course, do the opposite, where you need First Order. Maybe by then they'll release new First Order characters too, because it's gonna have to be like a marquee type before to make people farm that character before releasing an event character. So you kind of just have to watch the signs when they release certain characters, like, oh, is this character going to be needed for a brand new character, that a legendary or a journey or anything like that. So it kind of just, as that day gets closer, you kind of just have to keep an eye out so they don't catch us unawares.
All right. Warrior. Next question.
All right. So question for Warrior, and it's kind of similar to a question that Adastra had, so now we can get Warrior's take on it. Question from One Strong Man. So if a new Anakin is coming to the game in an event like Malak, we would likely need two different types of factions, light side and dark side, correct? Which characters would be used to unlock them?
That is such a good question, and that's probably what's going to happen. I've been kind of hinting at that for the last couple of months, and I thought that would be the route, either that or Mace. To be completely honest, I wish it was Mace, because we already have a really cool Anakin in the game, and we've yet to have a good Mace, and this is not fair. The only good Mace we have is the one we have to go against in GOTB, and that's not fun, getting beat up by him and not being able to run him, you know. So I would hope it would be Mace, but it's probably going to be like another iteration of Anakin, because everyone loves Annie. The two factions that would be used, you know, with Malak, they had a light side and a dark side. So with this, I would see they're probably having something similar. And so they would probably use the 501st. They just reworked them. So it would be something like the current 501st, those three, plus the old Anakin, plus the Shakti, because she just became farmable. And remember, they like to have just farmable, newly farmable, and newly purchased characters to use. So for a lot of people, clones haven't been very good. And so like old school people like us, we already had our clones. So that's cool. But for a lot of newer players, they don't have them. Like my Scissorman account doesn't have those. So it would require a lot of new players, which is the fresh blood, spending a lot of money. And it would make sense, right? The light side going after a General Anakin using his original iteration, the Anakin plus the 501st, which he was a part of. Why isn't he a part of it now? Well, there you go. And then, of course, Shakti is the leader. Makes sense. That's the 5 for the light side. For the dark side, that's another story, because it's like, what has come out recently on the dark side that you'd have to farm? Because that's the thing with Darth, you know, Malak, you had to get Revan, and Revan was like, Darth Revan was new, and you had to like farm for all of Darth Revan's characters. And so it makes it kind of difficult to kind of see, because there hasn't really been something that is relatively new from that faction. The only thing I can personally think of is it's going to kind of require like separatists, and they'll build the event in a way where they might say you could take any 5 separatists, but it will actually be so difficult that if you don't have Wat Tambor, that you won't complete it. Because then it would require you to have Wat Tambor at 7 stars, which nobody has, except for there's going to be maybe in the next 6 weeks, 100 to 150 people in the world that'll have it. And so I could see them making it so difficult that without Wat, it's possible, but very difficult. And with Wat, it makes it like much easier. So like he becomes that piece that you need to kind of make the event easier. Kind of like going after Padme was like super difficult, and all of a sudden Separatists got reworked, and now everyone, Padme came back around, everybody's like, oh, that was easy. I used like Gear 9 ticket check. You know what I mean? Like everybody was super happy because the reworks made Padme easier. So I don't know. I think the possibility of Separatists on the other side, because the 501st fought the Separatists, so it kind of makes sense to do that. But I don't know what Separatists. There's a lot. I don't really know which ones they would have you use specifically. So there you go. There's my best guess.
Hey, I just wanted to add in, you kept saying 501st, but you never said Ahsoka. Ahsoka deserves some love too. She got the tag, I mean.
No Jedi.
She could be a part of that with Shakti and the 501st and Ahsoka, but because she was, you know, Padawan to him. So I don't, that could be a possibility. But every other one, like you notice, they like to use the iterations, the previous iterations, to get the future iteration kind of thing. So I think they'd probably make us use the old Anakin to get the new Anakin. That's just my thought. I could be totally wrong.
All right. Next question, Dr. Finn.
All right. So for Dastra, question from What Else 73 says, "Are we sure Grand Arena Championships is working right? Seems I am overmatching the other 7 in my group by a lot. I even use my C and D teams to take down a couple of defense teams this round." So are you noticing anything funky with the matchups?
No, I'm usually at the bottom. I have the opposite issue there. Like, my mods are usually comparable to the my bracket mods though, so I'm not like heavily outmod at least. But I always have fewer Zetas, so I'm always the lower on the totem pole there. And then the Gear 13s are kind of, I have a lot of those because of Jedi. But I mean, my matches have actually been pretty even, I'd say. Just, the mods vary. Like some of my opponents have insane mod counts, like, the 6E count, the 20 plus, 15 plus. But that's my bracket. I'm kind of up there. But again, it's been pretty good for me personally. I mean, it's getting decent opponents. Not like I've never been heavily outmatched, and I've never really heavily outmatched an opponent. Like sometimes I'd have the edge mod wise by a decent count. My Gear 13, again, I do have a higher amount of that, but a lot of that again is because of my Jedi obsession. So it always cracks me up that opponent will look at the brackets and they'll see, oh God, this person has this many Gear 13s. And then they go to check my age and then they just see a sea of Jedi. And it's like, yep, it's gonna cause them to forfeit right then, going against the Gear 13, 8th Pod, Jedi Guardian. Better watch out. But yeah, again, I mean, my matches have been good. I know it's been it varies for other people. Some people got a really tough bracket. Like, again, the Zeta count. Some people just have way more Zetas than others. And then, again, the Gear 13. Some people have just the amounts of that versus another because of that slight GP increase. So it doesn't match up equally there. But modding, that's where you can have it. Like, you're talking that you have the advantage that you're using your C and D teams. So I think for where you're at, you probably have a really good account as far as modding and just in general. So I mean, that's nothing bad. That's pretty good on your count there. I mean, I like that you're worried about overmatching your opponents. Like, you feel bad for your opponents, but hey, you earned your roster. It's just keep kicking butt.
All right.
That's science.
That is science. That's back to Warrior.
All right. So Warrior, question from Paparazzi, and the question is, what do you use to counter a Gear 13 Grievous on defense in Grand Arena? I never seem to be able to beat the team in one go.
Good question. I use Padme. I try to always use Padme. Works really, really well. The other option is Jedi Knight Revan. Jedi Knight Revan's a little more finicky because you have to kind of pound at the team but not kill anyone until B2 comes out of stealth. And then don't mark but kill B2 as fast as you can because he's a turn meter guy. And then when he dies, you'll have to survive one plop from Grievous, and then you can mark him, kill him, and then the team just fall apart after that. So it's kill B2, kill General Grievous through marking him. So that's that route. But sometimes it can go south. You can't kill B2 fast enough, and they get all these bonus turns, and there's a bunch of target lock and crazy stuff happening, and it's like, oh goodness. So I like personally Padme. My Padme doesn't. I mean, I get 58 to 60 points every single time with Padme. The bonus protection basically prevents that. Recently, I just watched a mobile gamer video, and I'm like, shoot, why didn't I think of that? And so that was really cool. Someone had suggested on his live stream that he use the Bastila lead to use like Jedi with a bunch of bonus protection, because they can really just survive that, the onslaught of those huge hits. And sure as day, I mean, if you watch his video, what mobile gamer? His team doesn't even falter. It's like 60 points, and he didn't even hardly try. He never even used it. In fact, I saw a number of mismatch moves where he went for the wrong thing and he didn't have proper kill order. I mean, he was kept trying to kill Grievous, and then Grievous would mark another character, and then he would try and kill that character, and then Grievous would be back to more protection and health. And it was just, he just was spinning his wheels totally wrong. He totally messed it up on kill order. No offense, sorry, mobile gamer. But he's still full health and protection, like 60 points. It's like he couldn't mess up with that team. So Basti-led Jedis, go watch that mobile gamer video. I think that was a fun one. And actually, it leaves your Padme for some other difficult teams, and it leaves your Jedi Knight Revan for some other difficult teams.
And what is your full Padme team? Because I know people have different fifths on that team.
So I use Padme as the leader, of course, General Kenobi, because he's a part of that kind of synergy. And I also use Ahsoka because of the Dispel and her massive damage. And then the other two, normally it'd be like Anakin +1, but I use Anakin with Jedi Knight Revan. So I actually use Yoda, just Grandmaster Yoda, because I need a damage dealer on each team. So if I put Anakin with my Revan, I pull my Yoda off of Revan, put him with her. And then I was using Barriss for the most part, because she does provide some healing every time there's a crit. So it kind of counteracts the amount of damage that you're taking. And she cleanses. She gets turn meter and she cleanses a lot, and that helps too. So there's that. Although when they have bonus protection, they can't even be debuffed. So a pretty awesome, solid team.
All right. So next question for Jedi Master Dastra. And the question is from Sith Lord 72. And the question is, as a longtime player, is anyone else getting bored with the same teams for GAC, territory wars, territory battles, etc.? It would be nice if we could use our whole roster we've worked on.
Oh my god, this is like a perfect question. Bring back our bonuses.
Now,
Yeah, again, in my bracket, like everyone has, with the exception of like specialized characters, again, with me with Jedi, like some people might go all in on Bounty Hunter or Empire, but in general, it's the same type of setups. So like your only options are how cheesy or how strong of a defense do I want to set for my opponent? And I love, experimenting and trying out different teams so I can use more of my roster. But in general, it's pretty limited for us longer time players that are in these brackets facing the same stuff. And that's why 3v3 GA was so refreshing. Like that is still my favorite mode that I hope they bring that back someday, because it opened it up to just, you got to try a lot more stuff.
Did somebody say chips?
Super creative.
oh god,
it was so much fun. The one downside though is like Malak. He is such a turd. So a lot of people would just put that in the front, and then you have to really you either have to use your own to kill it, or there was only a very select few counters that worked. But other than that, you got to be really creative. You got to try. Like I came up with a pretty cool defense setup with it, and I had counters for it. So I mean, I wouldn't ever say I'm bored per se, but it can get kind of just meh, like doing the same type of setups. So that's like, again, you can at least change up your defenses to try stuff just to give you that sense of it's not the same cookie cutter teams. And then as they do these reworks and give you new characters, that at least changes it up a little too. So like in the TW scene, at least there's a big variety for that as well, because you're working with 49 other people to set up your board. But again, that's heavily dependent on your bracket. So like where I'm at the higher end, only certain like you're not gonna see Phoenix Squad on defense at the top end, for example. So again, it's kind of I'm hoping they can do something because there's just so much overpowered characters now that with TW that you can't be as creative as you once did, with the variety of what you could set and use for offense. Like you just use all these overpowered teams now. It's like here's a direct counter, here's a strong defense. So I don't know if they're ever gonna adjust the because like the reward system is still based on the old one of like I think what the top GP that it shows is 160 mil, and now there are guilds that are at 260. Like they need to update that system. So I don't know if they update it that they could update it similar to the Grand Arena brackets that as you are higher up in GP you have to set more per zone. That if they would do that with TW that the higher up you are, you have to set more in a zone, so it can kind of, challenge the higher end to have to actually set more stuff, and you get to use more stuff as a result. And territory battles, that's still fresh for a lot of people. This light side GOTV, it's still, unless some people are already bored of that, I guess the newness of it has kind of worn off, but I still feel like it's somewhat fresh, that you're trying to see what teams can survive, trying to see how far you can get, try to stars, and then of course the special missions, the crazy Accolade mission, and then the Wat mission. So I still feel like there's a little bit there that's giving some people, a relief from the day-to-day game mechanics, but I'm looking forward to light side GOTV, of course, because I get to use all of my Jedi Galactic Republic stuff. But yes, give
Of
us
course you are.
bonuses. I think that's my main point, though. Give me back 3v3.
No. All right. Well, couple things. I just want to let you guys know that right after this Jedi Academy, I will be doing my GAC. We're going to go right into that fight. And also, so if you want to check that out, just stay tuned after the Jedi Academy. We'll go do the fights. And then we also have good old Maurice joining us. Go, Maurice.
With the magic of YouTube, we have replaced Warrior with good old Maurice.
Nah, Warrior's still here. It's just good old Maurice is coming. Get out.
Hey, guys. Yeah.
Good old Maurice.
Hello.
What's going on, man?
Hey.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, sorry I'm a little late. I had an appointment this morning. Sorry.
Yeah, by appointment, you mean he slept in.
No. Okay.
Was it an appointment with Bojangles?
No.
Oh.
Nope. I'm on the banana for breakfast plan.
Oh, what?
Yep.
What is
I'm disappointed. I was hoping to hear about what your Bojangles expedition resulted in this time.
I did drive past Bojangles to go to the banana store.
What, a banana like
There's a banana store.
What the hell's a banana store?
Words are hard at the moment. I mean, you mean the grocery store? No, I mean the banana store, man. You walk in, there's bananas everywhere, man. It's great.
You want bananas? We got bananas. Bananas, green bananas, yellow bananas. We got all the bananas.
We got nanner pudding. We got nanner casserole. We got everything here, man. Come on in. All right, let's get a question to good old Maurice, the banana store connoisseur.
All right. So good old Maurice question from Scowist, and he asks, any theories on how the pre-Gear 13 gear bottlenecks may be relieved? I cannot envision a future not needing stun guns and golden eyeballs.
I'm not. I haven't ever physically looked, but they're in the Grand Arena, the GAC store, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah, I mean, so that's an option. I don't know. Maybe more challenges, change the challenges. I guess they could do that. I mean, you can buy it everywhere now. So I don't think stun guns and stun cuffs are nearly as difficult as they were when I was trying to get them. Every day, all day.
They still suck.
There's a lot. Yeah, they do. But all this new stuff's coming, and there has to be a progression. Like if you just give them all the stun cuffs and carbonis and guns and stuff, they'll get up to where we are so quickly without having time to farm the mods, get the Zetas. So you gotta slow them down a little bit. You gotta keep it
But that's
the
just for
progression.
now.
Yeah.
In a little while, you'll start getting stun guns and stun cups, and you'll have to salvage them to the Jawa scavenger to make relics.
Oh, that's true too. But they might throw in, like, we got a new box in our dailies. We get the cryotechs now from there. I mean, while it's a small amount, every little bit helps. Maybe, probably, when we get the next thing after relics, like we get gear 13, we get relics, and then there'll be something else. Maybe they'll go back to gear 14.
Oh God, why? Why, Geonosians? Why? Why would you even put that thought into any?
Why?
Yeah,
No,
we
I
still
think
need our rainbow portrait, right?
Oh God.
I feel like this is the way characters are going to be for a while. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it. I mean, they almost. Of course, I guess there's always that chance, but yeah, it's heavily implied that relics is now the new gear pieces.
Yeah. All right. Back up top to Warrior.
No, Warrior's not here right now.
Oh, he left?
That's what I was saying. He didn't leave, but he has his work stuff right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why I said we replaced Warrior with good old Maurice with the magic of YouTube.
Oh, well, there you go.
He would have been much better to answer that question as he does those live streams. So
What do you
I'm
do?
so out of touch with.
I know. Good old Maurice never does any live streams.
Yeah, he just goes to the banana
No, but
store.
I'm kind of out of touch with the new game. Like I don't have an alt account. I've been playing for almost 4 years. I'm not as savvy as most are in that department.
Yeah, you're right though. They have increased the drop rates of stun guns and all of that kind of stuff, but there's still definitely the limiting gear right now for most of the characters and different stuff. And I don't think this is going to help with relics. So we'll see.
It's gonna be painful to use because the stun guns are needed everywhere, and then I will not be surprised if relics need them too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how quickly we all get rid of those 10,000 MK4 stun guns and MK5 computers. Those
MK4 carbs.
Well, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how long those last when this comes out.
I know. I'm really curious to see the quantities. Like, are we gonna need like 10,000, 5,000, 1,000? It's probably gonna be ridiculous.
All right, next question. I guess we'll go to.
Yeah. All right. So, question from Andrew Crookshank. And the question is, do you agree that Gear 13 and Relics are CG's way of getting away from a one-team meta by making it impossible to max out all of your tunes at once, open space for theory crafting, right? Whales aside, choices matter now as a free-to-play. I think I have to think more and choose more in terms of who I'm going to take to more than Gear 12.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, if you're free to play, especially, you have to be very choosy of like, okay, what are you building? What's your like area of choice? Like some people are more obsessed with arena, territory wars, grand arena, territory battles. But the plus side is there's usually carryover for each of those game modes. So like for people in that position, you have to really think, okay, if I gear 13 this character, is it going to be useful in every game mode, or is it only going to be for this specific game mode? And then it also does allow, the theory crafting. I mean, especially when these relics drop. I mean, that's why I'm pretty excited for it, because I'm always messing around with my Jedi, and so it'll be fun to see what new crazy combinations I can do. But like, I have that freedom to do that. Someone else that doesn't have that kind of stuff, they're going to have to be very choosy to get the best possible impact with what characters you've got. If you have like a favorite character, like maybe you can try to figure out a combination with that depending on the boosts that they get. So theory crafting is definitely opened up more recently than it has been with just the oppressive metas that we've had lately. So I'm kind of hoping that we will get a little balance again as people do focus on their specific Year 13, those teams that they want to relic first to like arena to take down Darth Revan. Because there are teams that counter it, but Darth Revan still just obliterates everything. Like you can defeat it with Padme, Jedi Revan, and Grievous, but Darth Revan will still destroy those teams. So that's why, in those arenas, it's still going to be primarily Darth Revan dominant. So I don't know if we're ever going to get a nice rock, paper, scissors arena again. I mean, I guess that would be contingent on if that General Skywalker, if he allows, Galactic Republic or Jedi to really stand against the Malik Revan. And then if it's still then, like, so say that Anakin can defeat Revan handily, but then, like, Jedi Revan can defeat Anakin. So you'd at least have somewhat of a variety again, but that's all conjecture. So in general, Arena, unfortunately, you're kind of limited on that theory crafting options because the Darth Revan Malik team is just so strong. Unless you're newer in an arena that doesn't have a Sea of Darthans yet, then you're gonna have a lot more freedom. There's people that I know that are in the newer arenas, so they're facing Jedi Revan, CLS, JTR. Like, they're still facing a variety. So those people will have a lot more freedom with the theory crafting in arena itself. But otherwise, in general, you're looking at your Grand Arena and Territory Wars, where this opens up more theory crafting with the G13 relics. But I feel like Arena, they just kind of stopped caring about that because these teams are just so powerful. And I think they've said it a few times too, that Grand Arena is your new place to have fun and try different things. So at least in that regard, you'll always be able to theory craft to an extent. I mean, that's part of one of the reasons I still play this game is because I can try different stuff in these other places. And of course, I still stubbornly see what can I use to kill Darth Revan, all those different combinations. But again, I'm optimistic that Relics, even though, everyone's touched on it, the timing of it seems a little sudden because Gear 13, people are still digesting that, trying to figure out the different what characters are worth it and just saving up for it. As a free-to-play, you'd have to be solely focused on Gear 13 to get it in one Gear 13 a week, I think was the estimate, if a free-to-play fully focused on that, and that's also dependent on drops. So now Relics, it's gonna be even tougher because you have to get that Gear 13 first, and it's definitely gonna be tougher for a free-to-play to theory craft as freely as a whale or kraken. Okay. But you just gotta be careful and choose wisely, but also have fun. That's the important part.
All right. Good old Maurice, next question.
Actually, Warrior's back.
Warrior's back. Oh, good. Yeah, okay.
So we'll go back to Warrior here. So Warrior, question to you from Danilo Papayas, and the question is now, you're there, right, Warrior? Just making sure.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So question
Thank
from
you
Danilo.
for being so flexible.
Oh, no problem. So Danilo Papayas says, now that Jango has the Separatist tag, does a team for Arena made of Jango, Ventress, Dooku, Grievous, and a fifth make sense for somebody with only a 700,000 account? Not enough space to type at the rest of the potential team.
Maybe. There's nobody testing that, so there's really no confirmation whether that would work or not. At that level of GP, you're probably facing already Revans, sadly at the very highest end, or Bastilas, and there's a lot of durability with those teams. So I'm not sure that it would, but that's something that you could definitely try out. I definitely like actually Newt lead with Jango present in the team because him having a leadership role, he gives extra speed too, but so does Newt. Newt actually gives 15 speed for other characters, so it's like a lot more speed potential. And you could have Grievous there to kind of go crazy and stuff, but ultimately like Wat Tambor would be amazing on that team. And I don't know, there is a lot of theory crafting potential at this point. I made a Newt lead Separatist team for Grand Arena that basically consists of what I just said. So I'm interested to see how the individual does when he goes against it, to see if he beats it first time or what. So we'll see.
Okay. All right, next question, Finn.
All right, so good old Maurice, question from Big Country Mags. And the question is, should I work on 501st or Geos?
Oh.
Well, I guess a lot depends if the new TB comes out and it's rotating like we are now, which is more than likely. Have they announced how often we're going to get to play it? Is it just one and one?
They haven't announced really anything about light side GOTB yet.
Yeah, how
Okay.
it'll factor in will be 1 week and then the next week and then the week,
Well, if it's similar to the last TB, the first one release is going to be a little easier than the second, so I'd probably do Geos. I'd probably do Geos. You got 3 captains or 3 pilots in both. Well, 4, I guess. Maybe 3 in each faction for pilot wise. So I mean, it's the same. And both are great. And the bugs on offense can beat. I mean, damn near anything. Like they're pretty good offensively, and so are the 501st. Do the bugs.
Yeah, it makes sense from a progression standpoint, right?
No Zeta. It's Zeta. You only need 2 Zetas for that team too.
Yeah.
The 501st, you need.
And Dark Side GOTB is the one that you have to get through first, probably before you
Yeah.
go to Light Side TB. Without having to look at it, but I'm pretty sure. I think we can all agree that Light Side TB is going to be a monster.
Well,
All I
I'd
know
rather
is-
have Wat Tambor than both of those factions. So the Geos
Yeah,
are
Watt's
pretty important.
pretty damn good.
Yeah. So
But we don't know what you're going to get from the light side either yet. So what
Well,
the
true,
special
true.
mission is going to be for
I
this.
felt a disturbing groan in the force. just a second.
Well, Jedi Master just got this. Take it.
Like
'Cause-
501st.
no,
501st.
no. But I mean, yeah, you can go with either team and it'll be a really good call. But if you're looking for how you can help your guild and what you're progressing towards and stuff right now, especially for a lower end guild, Dark Side TV just focused on getting your separatists squared away, especially your geos.
All right. So next question for Jedi Master Dastra, actually related to that. So Jason Krolik has a question. Which Jedi do you think will get reworked for light side TB?
Ooh, good question. I've been thinking about this one a lot in leading up to this light side.
Shocking.
Of course, at the top of the list, Mace. Mace deserves a rework. It's been teased. Like, I feel like he's gonna get a rework, and then we get these other things announced, and so it gets pushed back. But I just feel like he's gotta get one. Like, there's a lot of people. I just see random people that want it, so I feel like it's one of the higher Jedi requested reworks. So I honestly think he will get his someday. Hopefully soon. And then other than that, obviously I'd be happy with any of the Jedi, in that era, because we have a lot of Galactic Republic Jedi. It'd be great to see any of them get a rework or a touch up. But, again, Mace at the top. And Ayla, I would just love to see a touch up. Like, she's already very useful. I use her a lot in different Jedi teams. I've even used her with Padme and clones now. She can plug in pretty good. So I would just love like a little touch up just to elevate her to that next level of usefulness. And then in general, like Plo Koon would be kind of cool to get either a touch up or a rework. And he has a ship. So a lot of people have access to that, and in conjunction with GK ship meta eventually. It'd be nice, like, if these pilots just got some of their touch-up reworks, so it made it more worthwhile for people to gear up those characters, like not just for their ships, depending on what becomes meta with GK ship. So it'd be kind of cool if those characters were reworked, touched up, to just make them more useful for the general populace. And then, again, I'll take any reworks that I can get. But Mace, definitely, that's been long overdue, I feel like. And we're probably going to get new Jedi along the lines too, like Kiamati. I feel like we might get that because he has his own, he's in the game now. So maybe with him, then that would have a rework or touch-ups of other Jedi. And then, like, even the trio that they could do, if we ever got an official Jedi Sentinel, then they could rework Jedi Guardian and Jedi Consular, and you could have a cool little trio right there. So there's a lot of potential what they could do, but the faction, it's so big. So I know they're not going to get to everything. They're just going to go for the more popular or requested ones. So as much as I'd love to see every Jedi get some love, I know it's not going to happen. Just the more popular, higher end, more relevant ones. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they've got in store. I know there's something because this light side TV is a perfect opportunity. So I'm very optimistic. See how my faction gets a little boost.
All right.
All right. Next question for Warrior from Matthew 1908. And the question is, what's a second lineup for ships in GOTB without Houndstooth? Is Gauntlet mandatory? And if so, how high should I gear the pilots?
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I have to get going. So I just wanted to interject.
Oh, well.
Gotta take
All
off.
right, Lady
Thank you,
Dastra.
callers.
Bye,
Fun
Adastra.
to be
Bye,
here.
Dastra.
Bye, Adastra.
Stay safe, everyone.
That's right.
Take care.
All right.
So GOTB is a bit of a mess. There is any team plus a Houndstooth that's maxed, and you can win. With really bad RNG, you could still lose, but most of the time you can still win. Pretty much always you can win. The other team is pretty much like an 80% loss rate. So it's really difficult to win with anything. The first thing is you have to have totally maxed out characters and ships completely, and preferably gear 13, which is a nightmare for, it's like putting all that gear into Scarif Rebel Pathfinder to gear 12 was painful enough. Now we got to go gear 13 on him because we need, Biston's ship to hit harder kind of thing and be more dodgy. I don't know. So it's a really tough thing. But yesterday, I got both ship battles completed. One required the Geos, and so I used the Geos, and I blended them with the Sith Empire. Because there's a number of really durable ships that can regenerate health and protection with the Sith and the Empire. Primarily speaking, the Gauntlet. If you have the Gauntlet come in very first thing, it can basically cleanse and restore protection back to everything, and kind of give you a little more time for the Geos to, he comes in, he cleanses all that days off, he puts a bunch of protection back, and provided you got Mace and not the Negotiator, you can rebound and win. If you get the Negotiator, he does a special that dazes everyone and does 150k to the primary target. There's nobody that survives that really, except for Houndstooth or whatever. So it's super difficult to kind of give you the right answer for that. But I used Geos plus Sith Empire, specifically Gauntlet, and then the other team I used was First Order with Houndstooth, and First Order blended with some of the other miscellaneous. But First Order, if you can keep Houndstooth taunting, and the secret to that is always run XB with Houndstooth, because XB can come in, apply that breach, and do breach on basic with double taps. And so as long as breach is out, he never stops taunting. As long as he's taunting, everyone else is safe, and you can have other ships feeding turns to your Kylo Ren Unmasked Slicer, Cubs fan Han Slicer, his ship, and you basically ramp him up, and then he starts doing 100 to 120 to 150k to every ship, and you can start clearing those ships that are super durable out. But you got to protect them, so you need that. You need, like I said, XB in that lineup. You can even run XB actually in the original 3, but it's more effective to have him as the first reinforcement, because you get 2 breaches out of it, and sometimes RNG will be a mother and prevent some of that. So coming in off the bench is the best option. So those are my suggestions. Good luck. Some days I get 1 out of 2. Some days I get 2 out of 2. Some days I get 0 out of 2 because your Houndstooth gets hit for 150k and it's over.
Okay. Next question to Carolina's finest, non-eating Bojangles, Banana Boy, good old Maurice.
All right. Question from JLY9, and the question is: what is the kill order for Wave 4 of the Wat Tambor special mission in GOTB?
Well, My Wat Tambor mission consists of me just clicking on it and looking that I don't have 80 shards of Wat Tambor. I don't know. I haven't got to play the mission myself. Maybe Warrior.
I think it means for the one that you're getting Wat Tambor shards.
I'm
assuming that because I don't think anybody has been able to do I don't think anyone has the shards yet in order to do it, right?
Well, no. I faced Wat Tambor and
no, I know, but to do the GOTB, don't you need a
7-star? Yeah,
sorry, it's 7-star. I don't know what. All right, let's just start over. Let's just try that one again. Yeah. Well, the kill order. I mean, is it the same mission for everyone, or is it randomly generated like the rest of them?
I think it's randomly generated within a select amount, but I think the last wave is pretty consistent. At least in the videos I've seen, I haven't attempted it yet, but I think it's fairly consistent in the last wave.
Well, I mean, I don't know about kill order, but I do know I like running a fast Poggle, a really fast Poggle and a fast Brood Alpha, and really just focus Poggle's basics on the characters with tenacity down. You know, you got to use that Brood Alpha's heal, even if you don't need the Taunter. You still got to keep regenerating the health protection, so they have more to equalize. You know, I don't know about specific turn order, but I know there's certain tips. You know, and really that tank is pretty important too. The Hailfire tank. Using that, use it a lot. I mean, it's not like the rest of the abilities. It's on a 5-turn cooldown. It's not like on a percentage based thing. So you could use that a lot to your benefit. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know about turn order, but that's just I don't know. Tried to give some advice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think that's hopefully that answers it, JOY, and then otherwise, you know how to get a hold of us on the Discord and stuff if you need some more details. So
you're going to have to probably remod. You're probably going to need to make a loadout for your Geos for that mission. They need to be pretty decked out.
Yeah, it's
like Gear 12. Yeah, like Gear 13. Yeah, you got some play, but Gear 12, I do it on Gear 12 characters, and I have to remod. So
yeah, it's ugly. All right, let's see. We got 114 watching and 37 thumbs up. Could we get some more thumbs up action? Get some more likes in the channel? And with that, we go to our good friend Warrior.
Okay, so Warrior question from Skywalker Vader, and the question is, have you tried mixing up clones and Jedi teams? When you don't have all the clone teams, how can you use them? And is Warrior here?
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
Question again.
Yeah. So question from Skywalker Vader, have you tried mixing up clones and Jedi teams? When you don't have all the clones, how can you use them?
Really, it's clones or clones and Jedi or Jedi. The only real mixing is like, you know, Anakin works well with them and stuff like that. But if you're going to go the opposite direction, just Rex. Rex he's like Nihilus on his own, and you can put him in any team. So if you have a Jedi team and you want to throw Rex in there, he's an extra cleanse. He can kind of be protected by a tank like General Kenobi or something on a team, and then he can do a one shot for 300,000 or 500,000 pretty easily. Without some of the other characters, his damage goes down pretty good. So that bonus damage is good, but not as, it's not as amazing as a full clones team. So I really recommend clones with clones and a Jedi with Jedi, and Anakin can go really well with that team just because he goes well with them. But parsing them out doesn't really make sense. I would just start to develop the other ones. Something side note that's really funny on my GOTB, or not GOTB, my Galactic, whatever, the Grand Arena Championships, on my Scissorman account, the last team I had to go against were the bugs. And the guy had a Gear 9 leader, and then all the rest of the bugs were like Gear 4, Gear 4 and Gear 5, like trash. And I couldn't beat it. It was insanity because the leader gives 15,000 health and protection, and they share everything. It made it impossible for me with what I had as a counter. And I thought that was interesting. I thought everybody should know, because if you've got a bunch of bugs that suck and you can just get that one leader focused up, it makes for a valid counter for some of the lower to mid-level players. Even if you don't have all the star count or even the abilities or even the gear, the team just basically gear level 4 and above is viable, which is nuts to me. 38,000 health or 38,000 GP team, and I took two teams, both over 70,000 GP, and both lost. So I was just blown away. It's probably the strongest, lowest GP team on the planet right
Okay. Next question to Banana Man, GOM.
Banana Man. Banana Man. Okay. Question from Epic Fails for you, good old Maurice. Will we ever get new ships since it seems this new move and Mandalorian feature them, or is it dead content?
They slowly trickle these ships out. I mean, we just got that Vulture droid. I could see definitely some more ships coming, just slowly. I don't know if we'll get another Galactic Chase or not. I kind of like those, but the marquee packs really, I mean, you get about the same. Like you can unlock the ship free to play, by doing those, or you can just do the marquee event and get the same thing, So, I don't know. I don't know which ships we'll get next. I imagine we've got a full fleet. I mean, we've got plenty of Galactic Republic ships. Probably something along the lines of the Separatists and maybe some droid synergy, because they're those tags and they don't have a full fleet yet. So potentially some of those ships, dark side ships, I could see coming out maybe in anticipation of the light side TV where you'll need them.
So on that note, let me ask both of you guys, because this is an interesting question that's actually come up a few times in just discussions on Discord and in our other streams and stuff. So with the introduction of relics potentially, right? We don't know what the impact is going to be on ships specifically, because it's obviously the relics are going to modify something about the pilots and it might have an impact on the ships. Where does that put the status of ships like Vulture Droid that don't have any pilots? Are they going to get completely screwed with the introduction of relics? Is Vulture Droid kind of going to be the only pilotless ship we see, or do you think we can still see more since Relic seems to be kind of throwing all of that off?
I think the Vulture Droid is going to be pretty unique. Just because it just basically respawns, yeah. So that ship is probably going to be on its own. But I don't know. I think that Vulture Droid is pretty cool. I only have a 3-star. I haven't really even leveled it up. It looks interesting. So,
all right.
Any thoughts, Warrior, on Vulture Droid and its progression as a ship with relics on pilots and having no pilot?
Not sure about the interaction between relics and that, but the two ships that are definitely future meta are the Negotiator and that Vulture Droid, period. If you want to know another ship to develop outside the Vulture Droid with the Vulture Droid, you would want to probably do the Sith ships that have the concussion mines, because the concussion mines are probably going to work really, 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 really well with those buzz droids.
All right. Next question back up top to Warrior.
Okay. So question to you, Warrior, from Sean Ragnar, the Red Kelly. If you had Jango with Wat on the team, which piece of tech would you put on him?
He's the attacker, so I would put the, whatever it's called, it's for the attackers. It's the far right piece. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the far right piece for attackers.
Okay. I'll give you another one, too, because that was pretty straightforward. Next one is from Momo the Ninja. Question, if Daka is Gear 13 and has her Zeta, is her lead useful? It adds a lot of health.
So it depends on how you monitor. I just went against the all Gear 13 team and beat them with my Geos. And it was because their Daka was only 64,000 health after Gear 13. And I looked at the modding and totally all about speed and not about health. So wrong. And I just destroyed it. And I got 59 points. I don't know how that's even possible with Geos with the equalization, but apparently the last hit she made did some damage, and before equalization occurred, she died. So weird, but whatever. So I think that's kind of a bug. But bug. Anyway, but no, I think had he done modding properly, he'd have been over 80,000 health. And then had he put her in lead, that would have been significantly higher, 120,000 health. Like, I don't think anyone could beat a Nightsisters team like that. Although there's so much benefit to the speed and the revivability and stuff of that team. But I think she could be there and revive everyone that needs to be revived if she was at the 120,000 health. So it would be an interesting take and see. Have it set up and see if anyone could actually beat it. But I think the Geos would have a hard time getting through it for sure. And that's the counter I currently use, which works wonders. So, yeah, there's something to be said about that. I just think the other leads are probably slightly stronger, especially the Asajj lead, because things ramp up so fast with her lead.
Okay.
All right. So next question for good old Maurice is from Kane77, and his question is: would a Gear 11 Luminara be good on a Padme team? My Padme is Zeta, but Gear is in the process.
I mean, if that's the only 5th Galactic Republic you have, yes, I think she's definitely one of the lesser. I don't think she's top 10, even top 15. If you don't have any other, I would use Qui-Gon Jinn over Luminara.
Yeah, she just her stuns. It just
Ayla over. I mean, Ayla. If you don't have,
Ayla
you probably
would
don't have
be-
Ayla. Then if you're asking about Lumi, but Qui-Gon Jinn would be better because then you got a chance to call in Padme for more protection up. So I mean, it's or I guess it has to be a Jedi, but that's Anakin. That's Anakin with the buff block and the healing block too. So trying to think of some other. You could use Hermit Yoda there. I mean, it's not a Galactic Republic, but he's helpful.
Good old Barriss.
Yeah, Barriss. Barriss is actually, I like Barriss. Barriss is much. She's very, very good. I think you can plug her in on the Galactic Republic, plug her in with some of your leftover Jedi teams now, splitting up the Basilisks and the Giant Revan. Barriss comes in handy too.
Okay. Back to Warrior.
All right. So Warrior, question from Smoke311. Question: why do you think CG stated there will be no more gear levels after Gear 13? Is that a positive thing and reassurance that the future of the game is not in trouble?
Sorry, again, I was distracted with a customer. I'm back.
No
Go ahead.
So Smoke311 is asking, why do you think CG stated there will be no more gear levels after Gear 13? Is that a positive thing and reassurance that the future of the game is not in trouble?
That's Jedi mind tricks, you guys. This is not the droid you're looking for. This is not additional gear. It is gear. They're evolving it to the next level. The other games, put red stars, and that was the evolution of their star system. Our gear systems evolved to a relic gear system. There's no two ways about it. The way that they have come out and explained it, you're going to use gear, and you're going to have to use a lot of gear. And they said the first couple levels will be easy, and then it's going to get significantly more difficult. Those words mean hell for gear, and it means that if you're going to get any real value out of the relic system, that you're going to have to plug in just as much gear into that relic system. And when I first started the game, gear 10 was the highest any character could go, and they said the relic system ends at level 7 for now. What does for now mean? It means it is going to increase over time, which means relics will eventually get to expand to, relic level 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And eventually you'll have a character that you have to gear to 13 and then relic it to 13. And you're going to have to use gear for both. So anything other than saying this is the new Gear Crunch or Gear Crunch 2.0 is flat out lying to your face. Flat out lying to your face. It is identical in the sense that you will be using, and the higher you go, the worse the gear is, right? Well, you're a character. The first 4 or 5 levels is freaking easy, and then after that, it becomes difficult, and after that, it becomes extremely long, and that's exactly what's going to happen with the relic system. So it's identical. It's a parallel system. They said, oh, no more gear because we don't want to cause gear crunches, and then they give us a gear system that's going to cause a gear crunch. For a fact, it's actually probably going to be worse than the system that they have in place for gear. In fact, I think once we do some relics, we're going to wish they just created a gear level 14 and 15, honestly. Yeah.
I'm already with you there. So.
Yeah. All right. Back to Gong.
This is the last question before we get into the group questions and then the fun question. So, question for you, good old Maurice from Paparazzi. I saved Grievous for Grievous Bomb and don't have Wat yet. What's the best team I can set on defense with the rest of my non-Geo separatists?
Newt, Jango, 100, B2, B1.
I'm assuming she's using those on the Grievous squad.
Oh, she said Grievous Bomb. I assume, is that not some sort of 88 or HK counter?
Yeah, it's either be HK or IG88. what is it? T3 BB8.
Okay, is that the full bomb composition? I thought B1 was on that team too, but I
think
couldn't
it
remember.
is. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to run another Separatist team, you got to find a replacement for B1's got to be on any team that doesn't have Grievous. But yeah, I think there are comps that run B1 in that team too, but you need B1. Just B1 under new gun rate is awesome. You start getting that stacks of battle battalion, droid battalion up to 150.
Oh, okay, really quick, go to Maurice. So she clarified her Grievous team is Grievous, IG-88, IPD, BB-8, and T3.
Okay, yeah. So just the 3 leftover Separatist droids. I would leave Droidica out. Maybe consider Droidica as well if you have that Zeta. If you don't have the Zeta, I would use Jango. Jango's pretty good too. That's a lot of debuffs he does for big damage, and he can bypass taunts too, which you don't have to wait on that extortion to clear the taunt. Jango can just get him started. The extortion cleanses the taunt, and you just finish him off. So it's I placed no defense a couple times. It's being one shot because. I guess people are like, oh, there's no Grievous, and they just have like a way OP counter for it. But I used it on offense this last time, and it did some damage on a good. Who did I use it on? I think I used it on First Order. You could use it on First Order, Kira, Karth, teams like that, which you need those killers. So,
okay,
all right. So let's get into some group questions here as we start wrapping up the questions. Question for Paparazzi: is anyone running clones on defense in Grand Arena, and if so, what's the lineup?
Well, I'm not running them, but I have a team we'll be facing today that's got Padme lead with 4 clones. So we'll have some fun trying to figure that sucker out.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Good on Maurice or Warrior. Are either of you guys using clones on defense right now?
I am. Simply because I'm not super comfortable using them yet. So I just put them on defense just for now. Hopefully I'll get to get a little play with them, maybe get to rebot them for the second wave, because I think they are an offensive team.
Are you using a Rex lead or
I'm going to. I'm using Shock T now, but I think I'm going to try Rex lead. Rex lead with a 4-501st and Barriss. It just kind of sucks. His clones, like you want to mod them for health under Barriss, and even with that boost, their health pools are so low. Like, it's really tough to get them up there. You almost have to gear 13 them to run a Barriss Rex team. We'll see though. They're a lot of fun. Like earlier I said, Geos do Geos first. It doesn't mean that the Geos are better than the clones. They're just the clones are fun. Rex is awesome. Oh, he's awesome.
Okay.
Next question from Darsion 1972. Why did some people get a buy in GAC and full points? Doesn't this affect the leaderboard? Also, anyone else frustrated that GAC constantly has issues every launch?
I think Warrior addressed this one earlier, right?
I'm not seeing this as an issue, right?
No, because Warrior brought this up where he said, they could get a buy the first round and then get raffle stomped the rest of the time. So we don't know, but I mean it's 3 points, but that's because they can't get feats or anything, and they don't have enough people in the 8-man bracket to complete it. So they're giving them the points, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect the leaderboard. But yeah, problems with GAC, I mean...
This one actually has been, I think, relatively smooth. I think
been
people are just
smoother, I have to say. Yeah, I agree. I haven't really seen anything like we've seen previously, so I guess that's a positive.
All right. So let's start this one with Warrior from Big Country Mags. And his question is, for lower GP players, is it possible... or is it time to stop chasing the meta and start going after some of the reworks, as Gear 13 and Relics are out of reach for a year or so for lower GP players?
I mean, I said this before and I'll say it again. Geos you should have done for ships, and so you should have been happily rewarded with a brand new team. Clones are now viable on my. I know everyone always asks, is your 5-pillar system going to change with Darth Revan? And, my pillar system came out just after Darth Revan, and all of a sudden, Darth Revan's like super amazing. So, he needs to be incorporated in there, but the clones actually need to be incorporated in now because the clones are, a top 6 team in the game. And there's just so many. The funny thing is we want a paper, rock, scissors situation where this team loses to this team but beats that team. We have that actually in Grand Arena Championships really well. Like they are doing a phenomenal job building that in that. But it's Arena that they don't have that. In Arena, it's just like you either have it or you don't. You either have Malak or you suck. So it's Arena's difficult. But outside of Arena, in Grand Arena Championships, where I think people are going to find the most joy if they have the right teams, clones are amazing. Clones can kill a ton of stuff. I made the mistake of taking in a Imperial Trooper team because I had used my Imperial Trooper team and slaughtered clones in the past really quick. But they had Anakin. They threw Anakin in there, and instantaneously everything went south on me. And that was the only difference. I still had a faster team. It was still the same Gear 12 clones. It's just they had Anakin in there, and I didn't. So that was the one key difference, and I got destroyed. So then I had to switch tactics, right? And then I had to move to an Emperor Palpatine lead with some tanks to be durable and just watch the clones kill themselves. That was fun. Kind of like the Jawas kind of kill the Geos, or how Traya kills the Geos, where the Geos kind of kill themselves. The clones kill themselves with Emperor Palpatine because of the damage that they take every time they take a turn. So, there's these weird counters, like Emperor Palpatine, all of a sudden he's super overpowered and can kill clones, which is like a top 6 team, and Emperor Palpatine's really not. So now all of a sudden he's like a top 10, top 5 counter to, clones. So, there's all these different like this and that you kind of have to pay attention to, but the balance is there, and I think that, yes, you should be diversifying your roster and not worrying as much about Arena anymore, because you can tell Arena does not matter anymore to them at all. Their eggs are all in the basket of Grand Arena Championships. I think that's where they see the future of this game, and I think that's where they see the health and the viability and the long-term longevity all going to come from that portion of the game in their eyes. Which is one of the reasons why they kind of stepped up their stuff. Now, I know there's still a lot of cheaters, and there's still cheaters getting away with it, but the increase in number of people who are being banned is going through the roof, and I'm excited to see that, because it's shaking apparently the foundations of all the cheaters and all the different subreddits where the cheaters are chatting and talking about it and stuff. They're all pretty nervous because quite a few of them apparently have spent money, and if they lose their account, they'll have wasted all of that money and not be able to have it anymore. So I think that that they're definitely taking that more seriously now, which I think gives more confidence to people like us to make sure that it's long term going to be a good thing.
Okay.
All right. So I'll say for this next question really quick, and I'll give this disclaimer now. I'm going to say spoiler alert right now, because there is something about Rise of the Skywalker.
Won't matter, Finn. We're going to get hate
this
because
is
we
be
talk
the last
about
time
it.
that we're going to say spoiler alert, just FYI.
Spoiler,
it's hard
spoiler,
to avoid all the
spoiler.
trailers. So just really quick, one question, and then we'll jump into the rest. So Ronan Zai asks, do you think we will get Darkside Rey in the game? I think we will. It's some kind of like journey for Jedi training.
Well, it
Rey.
depends on the context of what that character from what we saw in the trailer means, right? If it's just a one-off thing, maybe.
Well, to what Warrior said, CG may not even know, right?
Yeah, I don't think CG knows either. So it'll be a while before we see anything. But we have to get the context of what that character is in the arc. Is it a major player? Is it somewhat there? Is it just there in a force vision or something? We don't know, and so I don't know if we're going to get a character that just appears real briefly in the movie in the game, or is it going to be a more intricate part of the storyline to where we do get a character like that in the game?
Yeah. All right. So now let's jump into some fun questions here. So Darth Sion 1972 question: can we get some thumbs up on the video?
Yeah, so we good. Yeah,
Make sure to give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is from Paparazzi for Ranger. Do you have any questions for the audience?
Do I have any questions for the audience? Good Lord. You guys bombarded.
Why haven't you hit the thumbs up yet?
Yeah. What's happening? Why do y'all put up with Finn's fluffiness so much? I don't understand it. Why? Why are you not hanging around and watch me do GAC after this? Why?
Poor McFadden was hiding under pillows. He didn't know what to do with the hurricane.
I know, poor.
By the way, I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there really quick because good old Maurice is here too. The track of the hurricane is like completely changing now. Like West Palm is only on like the very edge of the track now. It's in fact turning and almost going straight and going towards McVenom again. like the second year in a row that a hurricane's like heading here, and then it's like turning. It's looking like it's gonna actually hit the Carolinas again. So good old Maurice, make sure you stay safe. And I already told McVenom that she needs to make sure.
Oh, will do. I'm hundreds of miles inland, so
Okay, good. All right. Next question is from What Else 73 for Warrior, and it just says, "Is Warrior saying relics are CG raising the volume up to 11?"
Yes.
There you go.
There you go, science.
They're blowing our speakers.
Mm-hmm.
There's no chill.
Paparazzi question for Finn: Can I see your porg in a plastic bag? I actually have a new fuzzy porg too that I'm gonna do something with later this month, which we'll hopefully have a big announcement for next week. So be on the lookout for that. Deadpool Kyle question: Oh no, no Twinkies. What are you gonna do, Finn? I've been good without Twinkies for a while now, actually.
Yeah, science.
I've actually been good. So, Deadpool Kyle. Wow. Question, Finn: Are you ready for the hurricane? Ranger, are you ready for the storms that'll end up coming your way?
Nah, it's gonna really hit me. I mean, Atlanta just.
It's barely gonna hit me now.
Yeah, it's if it comes this way, we may get some weather from it, but it's nothing. I mean, the good thing being in Atlanta near the mountains is that by the time any storm gets inland, it's already vastly depleted, and then the mountains break up anything that can really get here. So.
And Florida does too. We act as a nice buffer for you usually.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you cannot get to Georgia unless you hit some parts of southern Georgia or Florida. So, I mean, it doesn't matter which way that storm tracks. You can come directly at Atlanta. It's still not going to be even close to the power it is when it's over the ocean. So,
yeah. Next question, SithLord72 question: With Disney and Universal's attendance down mainly due to cost, do you think EA and CG are starting to price themselves out of the market? Wouldn't it make more sense to have balanced spending? Okay. Volume does not necessarily equate profits. Would you rather have 1,000 people paying you $1, or would you rather have one person paying you $100,000? Right? It's extreme, but it's still same general concept. The profit does not necessarily equate to the attendance. You want to try and increase attendance, and you have to try and find the whole supply demand and find the exact balance that maximizes your profit. But just looking at attendance by itself is not an indicator of really anything.
all right.
Next question, Paparazzi. We can ask everyone here. What else do you do during Jedi Academy? Or are you just sitting and patiently listening, waiting for your question?
Oh, my opponent in Grand Arena was attacking, so I've been sitting here watching it like a hawk. I've been doing the last hour. So
Warrior's selling mattresses.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Yep, I've been here at work running around like a chicken with my head chopped off. I'm sure you've heard the bing bong back and forth and the phone calls ringing in the background. And yeah, it's just trying to be on this, man. I love all of y'all.
Tom, when you just said that, it reminded me of Mr. Washy Washy from Family Guy. It's like, Bing Bong. You know Bing Bong. All right. And then last question, Epic Fails. I am at the banana store. What should I get? Good old Maurice.
Chicken.
I would suggest some plantains. Those are in the back.
Very, very nice. Okay, yeah. Good. Yes.
All right. And that is it for our questions.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. Warrior, are you still there, my friend?
Yeah, I am. And I got to get out of here. So I appreciate you having me on. As always, it's been fun for the last few years getting to chat with you guys every morning on Saturday morning. So I'm glad I was able to make it. Great questions. Great audience. I appreciate everybody who's listening, because everyone who's listening is the show. They are the reason why the show exists. And it was the whole point of the foundation of why we started this. So thanks you for everybody who's listening. And if you haven't left a like for these bad boys, leave a like, because you like the show. And that's my Jedi mind trick. Catch me on YouTube and my weekly Scissorman stream and whatnot. And you guys have a good afternoon.
All right. Go make your money, Warrior. All right. Good on Maurice. You got your fingers in a lot of pies, metaphorically.
Banana cream.
Yeah, I was just about to say banana pie. Yeah.
Banana cream pie. Just start pimping all your stuff. You're everywhere.
I'm half Operation Metaverse. Team Monday Night stream every Tuesday. We do have a YouTube channel, Operation Metaverse. I'm also on the Ramona Zob weekly live stream Sundays. 11-ish p.m. over on his channel, Ramona Zob, Alliance Live Show. We've been doing that for a long, long time. So not as long as you guys have, but we've been around for a while doing
Been a
that.
while.
Yeah, always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, and then if you're watching this, you're watching RSG. We do this show every Saturday from 10 to 12, as you can see. Now, for you skewers out there and people that are interested, I'm going to immediately stop this, and when we get done, give us about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to pop over and do GAC. And then I've got some remodding sessions to do today, so I will be busy till tonight. Finn, are you going to be able to do Pictionary tonight?
Not sure.
Okay, so if there's going to be Pictionary, Finn will let you guys know. And then tomorrow we'll have our D&D campaign. But there's more stuff like that. We do all kinds of games here on YouTube and Twitch. So check out both our channels. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? But also do me a favor, visit these other channels, guys. These folks take time out of their busy schedules to answer your questions. They love the community. They love answering your questions to help you out. So just show them a little bit of love and support. So go watch some of their content. Check it out. Maybe it's not for you, but at least you checked it out. Give them some thumbs up with some videos, things of that nature. So with that, we're going to call this one done. If you guys are going to hang out, just give us about 10-15 minutes. We're going to flip over and we're going to do GAC. So with that, we're going to sign off. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us on the Jedi Academy. So on behalf of myself and the panel, be safe, and we will see you on the flip side. Peace.